I want you to look at your last grocery receipt for a second. Really look at it. Not the total at the bottom, but the long stretch of small numbers in the middle. That is where the money leaks out, not in one big purchase you remember. In 30 little ones you forgot the minute you set the bags on the counter. My grandmother Ruth would have stared at that receipt the way she stared at a leak in the barn roof. Quiet, patient, already counting what it would cost her if she let it run. She fed 7 people through the worst years this country ever saw, on a hard little farm in Kentucky, and she never once clipped a coupon. She did not have them. She had something better. She had a way of looking at food before she spent a dime on it. Here is the thing nobody tells you. The store is not where you save money. By the time you are pushing that cart down the bright aisle, the game is already mostly lost or won. You are buying food to set on top of food, and the old food rots in the back of the fridge while you pay for new food in the front. I cut my own bill close to half this year. No coupons, no app, no clipping, just the plain old way Ruth did it. Let me show you. My name does not matter much here. What matters is that Ruth raised my mother and my mother raised me, and somewhere in the middle of that the sort handed down like a recipe card. I live in a regular house now. Regular store, regular prices, which is to say, prices that hurt. And the more I watched my own money go, the more I understood that the woman who fed 7 on almost nothing knew things the rest of us forgot on purpose. Because here is the part that ought to make you a little angry. The store would rather you never plan. A shopper who plans buys less. A shopper who wanders buys more, and buys it at full price and throws a third of it out. The bank would rather you not plan either, because a person who never has slack is a person who borrows. None of this is a secret, they whisper. It is just a thing that is true, and that nobody is in a hurry to tell you. Ruth was in a hurry to tell me. So now I will tell you. The first thing she did had nothing to do with the store at all. You do not start at the store, you start at home, looking at what you already own. Before Ruth wrote a single thing on a list, she walked her own kitchen, the cellar, the shelves, the cold box. She took a full count of what was already in the house. Then she built a few days of meals out of that, and only that. 1 week a month, she fed the family almost entirely out of the cupboard. She called it eating down. I call it pantry week. You do the same. Once a month, before you shop, take a real inventory. Open every cabinet, the freezer, the back of the fridge. Then plan a few days of meals using only what is already there. Cook the things that spoil fastest first. The milk and the spinach and the soft fruit, and let the cans and the dry goods wait. You shop for almost nothing that week. Maybe milk, maybe eggs. That is all. Here is why it works. And it is not magic, it is just waste. The government figures somewhere between 1/3 and 40 out of every £100 of food in this country gets thrown away. One group that studies this says the average American home wastes around $1,500 a year on food nobody ever ate. That is a used car payment rotting in the crisper drawer. Pantry week catches it. You eat the food you already paid for before it turns, instead of buying more to bury it. Now, I am not going to promise you some round number off one pantry week. Anybody who tells you a flat figure is selling you something. If your cupboard is bare, you save little. If it is full, you save a lot. But the money is real, and it is yours, and it was sitting in your own kitchen the whole time. The second thing Ruth taught me, she taught me with a block of cheese. Buy the food, not the work. She would not buy a thing somebody else had already cut, shredded, peeled, or cooked. Not because she was stubborn, because she could read a price tag. When you buy shredded cheese, you are not just buying cheese, you are paying a stranger to run it across a grater. When you buy the little baby carrots, you are paying for a machine to whittle big carrots down small. You buy block cheese and you buy whole carrots, and you do the small work yourself, in your own kitchen, for free. Why does it cost so much more? 3 reasons. There is a markup for the labor, the machine time, and the hand time to chop and shred and cook. There is fancier packaging, sealed tight, which costs more to make. And there is plain lost food. When they cut and trim a thing, it loses moisture and scraps, so you get less to eat per pound than you paid for. Now, the numbers run about how you would guess. Shredded cheese tends to run close to half again more per pound than the same cheese in a block. A whole chicken can cost you a fraction of what the cut-up parts cost, sometimes near half the price per pound. The little baby carrots and the pre-diced potatoes can run more than double the whole version, because they are really a made product, not just a smaller one. Now Ruth would want me to be fair, so here is the one place this flips. Frozen cut vegetables can actually beat fresh whole ones, especially when the fresh is out of season, because they get packed in bulk right at harvest. And those bags of pre-shredded cheese, a tenth of the weight, may be potato starch dusted on to keep it from clumping. So you are paying cheese money for not quite cheese, which is just one more reason to do the grating yourself. The third thing is about the order you decide in. Plan your meals around the cheapest food in season, not the other way around. Most folks pick a recipe, then go hunting the parts, and they pay whatever the parts cost that week. Ruth did it backward, and backward was right. She looked first at what the land was giving and what the store was dumping cheap, and only then did she decide what was for supper. If chicken and root vegetables were both marked down, then they were going in the oven together. The meal followed the price did not follow the meal. Why does in season cost so much less? When a crop comes ripe all at once, the store is swimming in it, and when there is plenty of a thing, the price falls. On top of that, food in its own season grows on sun and rain instead of costly hothouse tricks, and it travels a shorter road to the shelf. And the store plays a game on purpose. It marks a few things, chicken, sweet potatoes, below what they paid, just to pull you through the door. Those few items get strangely, wonderfully cheap. The swing can be big. An out-of-season item can cost you most of the way double what the same thing costs at harvest. So learn the rough calendar: berries and strawberries in late spring, melons and corn and beans in the summer heat, squash in the fall, cabbage and broccoli through the winter, leafy greens in spring. Not turn it into a rule that ruins you. In season is usually cheaper, not always. A bad crop year, a local shortage, a jump in fuel, and an in-season thing can still cost dear. So use the season as your guide, then glance at the actual shelf price before you trust it. The fourth thing Ruth did while the stove was already hot: cook once, eat twice. Never lit the stove for one meal. If the oven was on, it was working hard, because heating that box is the big cost, and a second pan in the same hot oven costs almost nothing. She cooked a big pot, then put half of it away for later in the week. Soups, stews, a casserole, the kind of food that freezes and comes back just as good. The savings come from a few directions at once. Buying big and cooking from scratch costs less per serving every time. Dry beans you cook yourself run several times cheaper per bowl than the same beans from a can. A fat bag of potatoes can save you close to a third over the little bags. Then there is the oven itself. A regular electric oven pulls a real load of power, and 1 hour of it costs you something. Run it once for 3 meals instead of 3 times for 3 meals, and you have cut that cost to a third. A slow cooker or a pressure pot can use a good deal less power still for the same job. Honest catch, and Ruth would say it plain, is that cooking big only saves if you actually eat it. If the bulk spoils, or you make a thing that does not freeze, the crisp foods, the salads, then you eat the loss and it cancels the bargain. Batch cooking needs a real plan behind it. Without the plan, it is just a bigger mess. The fifth thing is where the real bargains hide, and most people walk right past them. Work the markdown shelf and reach to the back. Every store has a corner where the food close to its date gets marked down hard. The manager's special, reduced for quick sale. Look for it in the meat case, the bakery, the produce. The best time to find it is 6 to 9 in the morning, when the staff is going through and stickering the day's dates. The sticker colors mean different things at different stores, so just ask somebody which color means the deepest cut. Here is why this is safe money, not risky money. The date on the package, the sell-by, is not the day the food goes bad. It is a guideline for the store about freshness, not safety. The food is usually just fine well past it if you keep it right. The moment you get a markdown home, you freeze it or you prep it, cut it, blanch it within a day. Freezing all but stop spoiling cold. The store knows all this too, which is exactly why it slashes the price. The other choice is throwing the food out, so it would rather sell it to you for a little than toss it for nothing. Markdowns run real deep. 40 to 60 off the regular price is common. The final clearance can hit 80 off. Some folks fill a freezer with meat that way and save a couple dollars a pound across a big haul. And while you are in the regular aisles, one more small habit: reach past the front. The store rotates the oldest stock to the front of the shelf, hoping you grab it, so the freshest milk and meat sit in the back. Reach back there. That is not rude. That is just knowing the game. Now, the sell-by date is not a free pass either, so let me be square with you. Check the seal. If the package is broken or the food smells off, you throw it out, no matter what the date says. The date is a guide. Your nose is the law. The sixth thing ties all of it together with a little notebook. A running pantry list, and buy 1 for now, 2 for later. Ruth kept account of what was on her shelves and what each thing cost when it was cheapest. She knew in her bones the rock-bottom price of flour and beans and sugar. So when a thing hit its low, she did not buy one. She bought one for now and two for later, and then she rode right past the next time the price climbed. This is the part that feels almost like a trick, but it is just patience. The staples in a store run on a sale cycle 6 to 12 weeks long, low then high then low again. If you only ever buy at the low and skip the high, you have beaten the store at its own calendar. Buy the canned tomatoes, the pasta, the rice, the beans, a few months' worth when they bottom out, and let the next price peak pass you by. Buying big also drops the per unit cost a good bit, a £10 bag of rice beating the little bag by a wide margin. But hear the catch, because it is the one that gets people. The whole thing breaks if you overdo it. Buy more than your family can eat before it goes bad, or forget to pull the older cans to the front so they get used, and you have thrown the savings in the trash. A steady, easy buffer of food you actually eat beats a giant hoard every time. Buy what you use what you buy. Check the date. So let me set it down in one breath, the way Ruth would, standing at the counter with her hands flat on the wood. You start at home and eat down what you already own. You buy the plain food and do the cutting yourself. You let the cheap, in-season food decide your supper. You cook once and eat twice while the stove is hot. You work the markdown shelf and reach to the back. And you keep a list. And you buy at the low, and you wait out the high. Not one coupon in the whole of it. Not one app. Just a way of seeing food clearly, the way a woman who fed 7 on almost nothing had to see it. Here is what I would love to hear from you, and I read these. What is the one thing your grandmother did to save money that you still do today? Tell me down below. I learn as much from your grandmothers as I learned from mine, and somebody reading this needs the exact trick you are about to type. Next time, I want to take you into the part of this Ruth loved most. Not the buying, the keeping. The old way she made food last through a winter without a freezer at all. The root cellar, the canning, the salt and the cold and the dark. That one is coming, and it might be my favorite thing she ever taught me. If this sounded like the kind of plain, useful talk you want more of, go ahead and subscribe. Soft and easy, no pressure. Sit with me a while. There is a whole pantry full of Ruth's old ways left, and I am in no hurry to run out. You are not poor for doing your own work. You are rich because you can. Ruth knew that with 7 mouths and an empty wallet, you can know it too. I will see you next time.